how was your internship experience? Because this year, for example, people are struggling to get internships. We were on campus. Our internship process started in October 2009, which was about one and a half, about a year into the financial crisis. It took about at least 18 months for things to recover after that. So our internship times were quite difficult, and we had only a batch of 240 people. But again, across all the IIMs, internships were very hard to come by. Companies weren't hiring in the big numbers. So, Tausif, where did you intern and how did you get that opportunity?
Yeah. So, see, at least for the first 1.5 year into college, I was in this phase where I was like, you know what, I've made it, and whatever happens will happen. So, even internship, I wasn't that serious because I was like, yeah, there will be enough companies that will come and all. And then everyone around me for some reason was interested in like Unilever and PNG, etc. I think people were just mesmerized by all the ads that they see, and they're like, "Hey, one day I can, make something like that." So I was also like, you know what, yeah, I'll do it. And generally, they prefer freshers, so I just thought my chances are, anyways, really good. So I think a bunch of these came, and then I didn't clear, and that is when like a little bit of panic started to set in, and then I tried to take it a little seriously, etc. I cleared idea and
Vodafone Idea, which is now Vodafone Idea.
now Vodafone Idea. That time it was Idea Cellular, and um, I then again I was like, अच्छा ठीक है, मतलब internship तो मिल गया, so things will be fine. And but I think this was uh, like I hate Bombay, okay, because of this internship experience, because this was like a 3 month or 2.5 month, whatever, internship period where I had to go to Bombay. Obviously, you're interning, you don't have a lot of money, and like the rents there were like crazy, so you have to stay very far from office,
This is
and
2010 he's talking about.
yeah, so that time
Probably
only it was
become
crazy.
probably become 5x now. But anyway, go ahead.
So I mean, you have to stay very far, and like I've not been exposed to a lot of public transport. Honestly, like in the Middle East, also I wasn't doing a lot of public transport, and in Hyderabad, I was taking my bike to college. So and then now it was like, hey, you have to go work, which is the first time ever I was working, and you have to find a place for yourself, which is again the first time I was doing it. I found something with some people. Honestly, like in that 2.5 months, for some reason or the other, we got kicked from the place twice, because like no one wants to give place for interns, right? Because you're renting it out for 2.5 months. When so I think they just like gave it, and then in 2 weeks they found someone who was willing to stay for a longer period of time, and they were like, "Jao." And this happened twice. So and the travel is like crazy, because first of all the humidity there is insane, and these trains, like I remember the first time I went, and I stood there, and I kept standing thinking, hey, there will be one train which will be like, where, where there'll be space and I can go. And I realized, okay, yeah, this doesn't happen. But like all of this in itself was so stressful for me. I mean, I didn't focus too much on the internship, and I didn't do a good job in summary. I think this was the first time when Idea Cellular said that, hey, we will not come for the final placements. So yeah, that was me and another guy, and like that's what the placement committee was telling, that, hey, dude, this company never does this. So what did you guys go and do over there? So yeah, that was another like sort of screw up over there.
Which means that obviously you kind of shot yourself in the foot for final placements as well.
Yeah, like I don't think I can show this interview to my mom or anyone this way.
But if you shot yourself in the foot, uh, you know, how was your final,
Yeah,
placement experience, and were you kind of insecure and yeah.
yeah. So I was a little, because I mean, like I didn't clear Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. That time I was a little like jolted, and this was the next time. And this time I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to, be a little better prepared for finals. So I did take them seriously, and so that time there used to be this process where laterals were hired. There was a batch that comes for laterals, which are mostly people with WorkX, and then the regular companies sort of come. And there was this like consulting company that had come for laterals, and then they decided to open for freshers. And I was like, ठीक है, मतलब, let's go and give it a try, because at least if nothing, I'll get some experience. Like that time I was in that mode, hey, I need interview practice. But I cleared it. So uh, that again like set this thing in, हाँ, मतलब, this wasn't that tough. So yeah, this is not what I wanted to do. In all of this, I was like, you know what, I want to do marketing, but
But you ended up doing IT consulting.
yeah, I ended up getting into IT consulting, and I was like, okay, we'll see. At least there's a job. Uh, yeah, I hated IT consulting. I mean, not the IT part, the consulting part, honestly, because I really like. I think by that time I was starting to get a little serious. So I realized that like, see, maybe there are a lot of happy consultants out there. So like, this is just my personal opinion that me fresh out of a campus giving advice to people who have spent like years in that industry on how to think strategically about massive bets that they want to take, I think I was nowhere near qualified for that. And I was just surprised they were even asking like all of this advice from me. And the second thing is like, whatever, there is some pride in the work that you do, right? So I genuinely put effort in building that work, and like for the first time maybe in my life, and giving that input to them, and most of the time it was thrown away. And I was like, yeah, you know what, this is not fulfilling. I need to do something else. I need to do something that I can say I have built for my own, and I've learned from the failures. And also that time I started to get into this mindset that, you know what, I need to learn. I obviously am not good enough.
So, what would you say was a turning point in your career? Because, I mean, from whatever you heard so far, of course, getting into an IIM was kind of easy for you because the exam seemed easy to you. But obviously, the series of mishaps with interviews, right from the
Yeah.
IIM interviews to internship to final placement, where you ended up getting in, but into a company that you didn't really want to get into, doing something that you probably didn't want to do. And given that all your life you wanted to do marketing, you have never done marketing after that, right?
Yeah, I never have.
What was the turning point in your career where, I mean, if somebody looks at your resume now, or if you looks at your LinkedIn profile, you are a director at Flipkart with like a great body of work. You worked at Zynga previously as well. It would seem as if you are like a really rich, smart man who's doing very well in life. But clearly, there was something that turned towards this. And what happened then? How did it happen?
I think it happened after Wipro. See, the one good thing I did at that point of time was like, which is probably thing I need to do like probably I should have learned earlier, was when I realized it was not working, I got out of it at the right time. Like within a year, I left. I joined a startup, but then I made a mistake again, and from there on, I think the story gets. I believe it gets better. So I joined this startup that was in edtech, funded by Sequoia, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, like this is where I'll ground
But
up.
why did you join that startup? In the sense that was it just a desperation to get out of the company you were working in, or was something exciting about that startup that interested you?
So, I mean, the first part was obviously there, but then this wasn't the only option that moved to. EdTech seemed interesting for me, honestly. Like, I think it's fulfilling to some level that, you are doing something that is impacting people's lives, etc. And this was like, I think 2012, 13. A lot of startups, etc., were coming and growing and impacting a lot of people's lives. And I also felt that I tried this corporate consulting gig that isn't working. Why not try something where you actually get your hands dirty, where you are doing a lot of stuff? Because in a startup, I don't think there are standardized roles. Maybe now there are, then there weren't, right? So I did marketing, I did sales, I did content development for a bit, and then it's like, so basically the thing is, we were in professional certifications, and this industry is like fragmented. There are a few big players, but there are a lot of these small players.
This is Edusis.
Edusis, yeah.
It's still existing.
Multiple pivots they've done, but they haven't. Like, there's a mistake in Edusis also that was there. I'll talk about that. But see, the thing we realized was there are a lot of these professional trainers who are not able to compete against these bigger players because there are a lot of value-added services in terms of this online content that the bigger players were giving, and we realized that, you know what, we should be the backend for these guys. So a SaaS platform that gives them white labeled solutions, and we started working on that. And I realized that, you know, a lot of engineering work is going. They need someone to, you know, sort of help decide what to build, etc. And then I went to my CEO and told, you know what, I want to do this. And yeah, I mean, he said no. So that was also. I mean, in hindsight, I'm really happy he said no. I didn't know at that point that is sort of like a, you know, product manager role. But the fact that he said no told me two or three things, right? One, I don't think he had belief that I would be able to do it, or I hadn't showcased enough, you know, capability or built enough trust that, you know, he trusts me to be able to do it. So that was actually the point when I decided, okay, now I need to, you know, start getting a little serious, because the other thing that was happening in Edusys is a lot of smart people were leaving. And to me, that is like a big indicator of, you know, where the company is going. When a lot of the smart people start leaving, maybe things aren't going that well. That combined with this told me that, first of all, by like serendipity, I figured out this is what I want to do, at least for the foreseeable future. And I realized, okay, I need to find something, you know, where I can learn this craft and then build on top of it. So that is when I started getting a little serious, and I told, you know what, I need to build a career in product. That for some reason I got clarity, and I started looking for opportunities. And that is probably the toughest I had prepared for, like the most serious I had prepared for anything. Because generally when you interview, you sort of do a spray and pray, but I didn't do that. I had shortlisted companies. I figured out where I wanted to go, and Zynga was like, I actually spent, I think, maybe 3-4 weeks seriously preparing for the interview, playing all of their games, understanding how product management in gaming, etc., happens. And yeah, I think they really value people who understand data well, who play games. I think it was just like a lot of culture fit. So that then onwards, I started getting a little more serious.
You said there was a mistake at Edusys that you made. What was that mistake?
Staying too long. So I'll tell you, see, this typically happens because there's a lot of peer pressure also, right? I left the first company in a year, and I was like, if I leave the, and that in hindsight is not a mistake. The mistake is staying in the second one for too long, when in hindsight, I felt that I was not getting challenged. So if you're not getting challenged intellectually, if you are feeling comfortable, etc., I don't think that you are really learning. That is probably the time that you, you know, figure out that you need to move. So I probably should have moved maybe 2 years earlier than I ended up doing.